Hi guys, I'm going to talk to you about a project I recently did with a Hyperdoc. This is the very first Hyperdoc I did. To give you some background, they did this right after a human body unit, and the goal was for them to compare frogs' body organs and systems to human body organs and systems. Um, and they were pretty clear on that. I started by letting them know that they were doing a Hyperdoc. I distributed this in Classroom and made a copy for each kid so that they could type directly on it. Started just by letting them know that this was a Hyperdoc, which meant that there were going to be lots of links for them to click on and follow, and lots of instructions for them to be sure and read. And also that the goal was for them to really collaborate and create, to communicate and think critically. Those were all goals for me in this lesson, and goals I had for them. We started by talking about our essential question, and then we went right into the engage, which was a quick little video clip of a frog dissection. They were already very nervous and knew we were going to be doing a frog dissection and had lots of questions, so I had them fill out a form to let me know how they were thinking as part of the engage. And then we went right into explore, and the explore included a whole different range of modalities, everything from watching videos to doing a frog on paper, labeling and coloring the different organs and color coding them, a virtual dissection, a link, just a straight out link about frog body systems, and the instructions that we were going to use for the frog dissection. And the frog dissection itself was just part of the explore. They took notes in their science notebook, didn't even have their computers out. Okay. Then for the explain, I had them explain what they had learned about the differences between frog and human. I told them to try and come up with as many differences and similarities, fill out as many as they could in this Venn diagram, and then share it with a friend, and then see what they could add and share and learn from each other. They were actually supposed to share it with 2 other people. And then they went on to their project, and they were able to choose from any of these. Make sure you have parent permission if they're making an account here. The only real rule was that they had to show what they know, and they had a lot of questions about, well, what did that mean and what did it have to get an A? So I made a class rubric, and there was a link here that they could go to. Originally, this rubric was blank except for the categories on the left and the top, and then we decided together how many similarities and differences they would need to get an A, a B, a C, a D, and so on. And we talked about these in all of my classes, and I got feedback from them all the way along, and they were able to challenge anything that they didn't agree with and talk about what was fair. And we agreed to this rubric for all my classes. And so then they just went in and they sort of taught themselves how to use these. A lot of them went with Google Presentation because they really didn't want to learn anything new, and that's totally fair. A lot of them went with other programs, either ones that they had maybe seen before or heard of, were popular, like Voki and Powtoons and Easily and WeVideo were the popular ones. But really Google Presentation was the most popular, not a lot of risk takers. Then they would click this link here to turn in their presentations, and I had them turn it in here, and I told them this because it was going to be shared with everybody, not just with me. If they turned it into Google Classroom, only I would see it, and I wanted them to share it with everybody. So they turned in a shareable link. They graded themselves, though I hid that from everybody, and then they hit submit, and then they were able to go back and click a link here. I have disabled it for right now, but it took them to everybody's presentations, and they were able to go in and click on somebody's presentation, open it up, and see another student's work, taking kind of a while to load. And then they would also give feedback on that, right on the slide. They could make comments, and I asked them to be positive, constructive, and specific, and they really largely did a really good job of that. And then we finished up with a 3-2-1 reflection that they typed right on the slide. If anybody was done early, there was some extra credit kind of stuff for them to do, and then we turned it into Google Classroom. So I saw the stuff they wrote on these slides, but everybody saw everybody else's projects, which is pretty cool. Know that if you do this, it's a lot of time ahead of time, but it's really nice because the kids really connect to it. To build the Hyperdoc takes a lot of time, and you don't get to sit in class either. It's a lot of walking around, but it's really fun talking to kids about what they're learning and seeing where they are in the Hyperdoc and helping them learn new things. And kids, not everybody's doing the same thing at any moment, so it makes it a lot more fun and interesting for your day and for them. And that's Hyperdocs.